Hello everyone, welcome back to Coding with T. Today we are going to create a very important tutorial of Riverpod. Although it is going to be very short because we are going to discuss two concepts, dot family and dot autoDispose. They seems very simple and their use is very large and in definitely in real scenarios. So as you can see, we are creating Flutter Riverpod Crash Course, and today we are going to create the ninth video of our Riverpod tutorials. So without wasting time, let's head towards the Android Studio. Okay, today we are not actually going to create any specific class or the UI, but just today's purpose is to teach you that how you can use dot family and dot auto dispose. If you see, we have the future provider and we cannot pass anything. Let's say you want to fetch user data based on the user ID, and from this user interface, this is a screen that we are using. Let's say you created an e-commerce or any other app that has different type of users, maybe products, maybe services, and you want to pass the ID, and based on that ID you want to fetch all the details of that specific product. So in this case, if you see the future provider, we are simply calling the ref and we are calling await over here and fetching any data from the API. Let's say we are fetching all the users, but how we are going to fetch a specific user? Let's say we only want to create a single provider that is going to fetch all the products based on single ID. But if we use this approach, we will end up in creating lot of future providers, and we just have to manually pass the IDs. For each ID we have to create each provider. Definitely this is the worst case that we are going to use. So rather, what we are going to use in every provider, in future provider, state provider, stream provider, in any provider you can use these two things, but I'm going to demonstrate with the future provider. So right next to the future provider, before calling anything else, first of all, you can, let's say we are going to call the family provider. It is not a family provider, rather it is a family object. So it will convert the future provider into type of family. And now you can see we have an error. The error because we have to define two things over here. The first one is what we are going to return. In this case, we are going to return string over here, and what type of variable that we are going to receive. The family means we are going to get variables because we are talking about the IDs. So we will get the integer, and right next to this ref, let's say we are going to get the ID, so we have to define the name over here and its type over here. So first we will have the return type, and then we have the integer type that we are going to receive. And down below you will see that we have an error because now it is a family type and we need to pass the string. So just like a function, because every provider is a function, so just like a function, we are just going to pass an ID because it is integer type, so we have to pass the int ID over here. So what's the error? To refresh it, definitely if we want to reuse this again, we have to again pass that specific ID, let's say a different ID, and while refreshing it is going to get the data of that another ID or the same ID that you are going to pass. So this is the family provider. You can pass multiple variables, and if you are thinking about that, what about passing different variables? You cannot pass anything like string over here, then it is going to throw you an error because we only pass one variable. So actual way or the professional way to deal with this scenario, you have to create a state. In the upcoming videos you will learn these things that I am going to talk about. Now we will create a specific class which has a name of user state, just kind of, you can say it will be a type of user model, but this is not going to be model, this is going to be state. So whatever we want to update in the UI, we call it as a state. So state can be changed, so that's why I'm going to call it user state. Let's say we want to update the ID, or let's say we have list of users. So as we do not have a user model, so I'm going to use list of strings. So we have list of users and a string, and let's say we have any other value. So this is a state, and instead of the integer we can use the state. Now this ID that we want to use, you see we have the ID dot ID and list of users. Whatever variable we have inside it, we can definitely update, and we can also update this state, because if the provider is going to return the state and we want to update values on the front end, we learn all these things in the previous videos as well. So this was just to teach you that how you can pass the multiple things. Now moving forward, if you want to use the auto dispose along with the family, if you do not want to use the family, you can just write auto dispose and you do not need to pass all these things. But let's assume that you also want to use auto dispose but with the family provider. So let's say you want to use auto dispose with the family, you can still do it. The reason to use the auto dispose with the family is most common. Let's say the same scenario that you are going to click on the product is going to open in a detail screen, in a large screen in which we have the product details. But whenever user is going to close that screen, and this specific provider, the greeting future provider, is now not being used by any widget, so the Riverpod is going to detect that this specific provider is not being used, and auto dispose is going to remove it from the memory. So this means that whenever we are going to open a new product, we will get definitely a new data, we will not get any previous data. For the forms, we also see such type of troubles, because when we are going to update the form and again click on that form, we have the old data sometimes. So using auto dispose will help you that whenever the widget will be disposed, whatever widget is using greeting future provider, which is auto disposable, so once it is not on the screen, it will dispose of it. And even if it is a future provider and we have a call going on to the database, but user press the back button, and we know in this scenario we do not need a future data, so Riverpod is going to cancel any in-flight futures and freeze its cache. So definitely you do not have all of data in the cache as well, so we have limited data that we want to use in the cache. Now this was with the future provider, but let's say if we talk about the notifier providers, so let's move to the async notifier, and over here you see we have already greeting async notifier that we are returning. So this is the return type, and this is the string, sorry, this is the string that is returned, and this is the class that we want to use, because we need all these functions to be called from wherever we are using this provider. So this is the class, the actual class, that is async notifier itself. This is the return type. But if we want to use the family or auto dispose, again auto dispose is simple, but let's say you want to use the family. Now you see we have an error. Same thing, we will return the class, we will return the return type, and the variable will be integer like this, and we have to define whatever we want to use. It is an id. Now you are getting the error. Now if we want to use the family with the async notifier provider, we also have to change this return type async notifier into family async notifier. And now because all the operations are not handled over here, rather they all are being handled down below. So the first one is the return type, whatever the state, which is string in this case, and the second value that we are going to receive so that we can use down below in the code. So it is an integer type. So this is what we are going to receive, this is the integer, and this is what we are going to return back. And this time in the build we also have to get the value over here, or let's say it is an id. So we will receive the value, whatever value we have over here, and we will return the value from this. So you see the error is gone, and now we have the error over here. So the error is saying that, okay, so sorry about that, we do not have to pass any variable because it is async notifier, and we do not need to pass anything just by converting async notifier provider dot family. So this value, because it is also now a family async notifier, it is automatically receiving whatever value we have over here will be received down below, and we can use that in our application. And also if you want to again use auto dispose, you can do it like this. And again if you want to use auto dispose, you have to change this family async notifier into auto dispose async notifier. And also we have auto dispose family async notifier, because in this case we are using both auto dispose and family. But if you are only using auto dispose, you have auto dispose async notifier, or you have family async notifier. So this is how you are going to use these things and make your life much easier. Definitely we will again go for the testing, we will write the unit test, and you will learn more things, that how easy it is to use or how professional it is to use a Riverpod. Definitely Riverpod is a bit complex. If you are coming from the GetX background, you can use it to create very quick applications in a very short time. But with the Riverpod, if it comes to the scalability, if it comes to the testing, if it comes to creating any large applications, you cannot beat the Riverpod, because it is going to handle all the cases very cleanly. At start it might seems difficult, so nothing to worry about. I am here, we will create all the future videos, and also we will make all these things much more similar in the phase 2 of our course. So that's it for today's tutorial. If you have any questions, you can ask me down below in the comments, and if you learn something new, please like the video, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for all the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and take care.